Hi, welcome to Kelly's Art Throb. I'm Kelly, and today we'll be making Christmas cards. Go to my community tab and get an outline of the design if you'd like. I'll put the supplies in the description, but if there's something you don't have, substitute your own supplies. This is a very flexible project, so you can use whatever you want. If you want to see how to create your own design, here's how I did mine. This is the size I'm making. I plotted it out on graph paper. You can erase all you want until you get it right. I used my circle template for the ornaments. After getting it right in pencil, I used a fine liner to ink it. Then I traced the design on tracing paper with a fine liner. Turn the tracing paper over and with soft graphite, pencil over the design on the reverse side. Center the tracing over your paper and tape it down. Now burnish the tracing to transfer the graphite onto your paper. I'm using a bone folder, but you could use the end of a paintbrush too. Check that the transfer is complete and burnish more if you need to. Now's a good time to erase any extra graphite you don't want. Pick what pens you want to use. Markers, fine liners, gel pens, fountain pens, they'll all work. I think a festive red will be good for Mary. And now, black fountain pen for Christmas. This is gold ink. I put it in this applicator with a needle tip because it's too thick for my dip pens. It's really thick. I keep scraps, goofs to use for getting this ink flowing out of the applicator. Go slowly and carefully here. You might want to practice on scraps first. Turn your paper whenever you need to. This design is pretty forgiving, and you can take your time and smooth out your lines. I'm making the ornament hangers gold too, but you could use something else. In fact, gel pens work great for this, as I'll demonstrate later. I wet scraps of watercolor paper on both sides, no tape, just water. Saturate the paper completely, several times if necessary. I'm doing this to all 3 pieces of paper. Don't rush this. Taking your time allows the paper to expand. Now you can drop in watercolor paint. Watch it flow. I always find it fascinating to watch the paint move and spread. It's relaxing and meditative. Good thing to do during stressful, busy holiday schedules. Look at that. Add more colors and watch them mix together. Use whatever colors you want and create whatever patterns you want. Keep in mind that you can use other supplies too. You don't have to use watercolor. You could use colored pencil, alcohol markers, watercolor markers, or even Posca pens. You're only limited by your imagination and, don't go out and buy stuff. Use what you have. And use what you like to use. Another thing you could use is your art that you've decided didn't work for whatever reason, sort of your reject art, and maybe it has a cool background, but the composition didn't work or whatever. Well, you could use that instead of making these, but I didn't have any that were the right colors or the right patterns. They didn't have a Christmassy feel at all, and I didn't think I could make them have a Christmas feel. So for me, it was just easy to go ahead and paint on some scraps of paper, and this is why I always keep my scraps. I do enjoy painting on scraps of paper like this. I find it really relaxing, and you know how I love to let the colors run together and watch them. It's fun when you can take kind of a technique or a process that isn't necessarily goal-oriented, it's process-oriented, and fit that into a goal-oriented project. It's like the best of both worlds. I mean, I create art not only for the art itself, but because I enjoy the way it feels and I enjoy watching it develop. So a lot of my art is about the process more or less than the actual result. Although I always do want a good result, You want art that looks good. I always really enjoy the subtleties that happen in this kind of painting. The sort of background paintings. And I've gotten really interested in Studio Ghibli movies lately. And I was watching them paint with poster color, and they wet both sides of the paper. And so I felt a little bit vindicated, even though I'm one of the only people I know on the internet who do that. I'm going to add a little shading in with some colored watercolor pencils. I'm using the General's Kimberly watercolor pencils. You know, I've got more expensive ones. I really like the simplicity of this basic set of 12, and especially for this, it's just perfect. They come in this nice little easy package, and they're so neat and tidy, and boy, I love that. So I'm just trying a couple of different colors, and I'm going to go around and shade with the watercolor pencil and use a water brush to activate it and move it around. I don't know if you guys can tell this, but the surface of this watercolor paper, I just recently found something out. Maybe you guys knew about this. I did not. The sizing on watercolor paper has a shelf life, and over the whole pandemic, I found watercolor paper on sale, and I stocked up on it, and most of it is still sealed, or at least is still in the plastic that it came in, but the sizing on watercolor paper goes bad. So don't hoard watercolor paper, and for goodness sake, don't treat it like it's precious. Get it out and use it. Arches in particular is really hard to overwork, and if you find that after you've done something like what I did with this background that you're getting like pitted mark looking, or granulated looking, and it's not granulating watercolor, the sizing on your paper has probably expired. But you can still use it for this kind of stuff, which is perfect. Or you can use it for gouache or acrylic. You just might not want to use it when you want a nice even wash, because you probably won't get one. Here I'm using a Signo gel pen, and it's water soluble, and I thought it would be good to kind of add some shine and dimension on this. And it's not perfect, but I'm going to put glitter over this, and it's just kind of fun. None of this has to be, it's very stylized. We're not trying to make a realistic looking Christmas ornament, right? It's just stylized and pretty and cute. Well, I'm going to cut this a little short. I think you get the idea, and I don't want to abuse your attention span too much. So I'm going to cut to the chase here in just a minute. This is some fabric adhesive from this company called Art Glitter. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, I had a huge box of art supplies from my mom and sister's house, and I'm just now getting to where I can, stand the idea of going through it all, and I ended up donating a bunch of stuff. which felt good. But I found this gorgeous glitter and I couldn't resist. I kept it, and because I knew I was going to be making Christmas cards, and I also know I'm not going to use glitter enough to justify buying it, and this stuff is so pretty. Oh my goodness. So I tried a bunch of different glues. I tried one of those glue pens, which didn't work very well. I'm going to tell you, it glopped. It was not good. I don't know if I had an old one or what, but it didn't work very well. And this is fabric glue. For some reason, they had that with this. And I thought, well, I'll just try it. And it's sort of dimensional. It's kind of puffy. So it adds a little bit of dimension in here as well. And so in the end, that's the glue I decided to use. And you can get it on Amazon, except I can't find the fabric one. You'll have to hunt around, probably Joann's or something. I did not buy this. Maybe they don't make it anymore. But I'm sure that they have puffy glue or dimensional glue. And you could try that. But it turns out really cute. And I was trying really hard to contain the glitter because I don't want it all over the house. I'm not like a neat freak, but glitter is just, you know how glitter is. So I got this little container, and fortunately, because these scraps are small, it's easy to contain. So if you get something like a little tub of some kind and then do your glitter over that, and you're careful, you can keep the glitter from making a huge mess. One thing is you might want to use the darker glitter first and the lighter glitter second. I found that whatever glitter you put on first gets hidden a little bit more. So if you put the darker stuff on first and the lighter on second, it just makes it look a little richer, in my opinion. Not that I'm an authority on glitter. I don't use it very often, but that was just my observation. And also, if you go at it in one direction with one glitter and then turn it around and go the other direction with the other glitter, then that also gives it a little bit more, depending on which side you look at it. It's kind of like those eyes that follow you everywhere. Well, now you see different dimensions of glitter. I don't know. I think I'm being a little over dramatic about glitter, but it is pretty cool. Can you get enough of this? I don't think I can. I love the shiny sparkle. It's so pretty. But, I do have neighbors. I'm making these cards for neighbors. And I have some neighbors who keep immaculate houses. And I know they're going to be glitter averse. So if you're glitter averse, stay tuned. There's more. But in the meantime, you can look at this glitter and you won't get any of it in your house. You can just enjoy it. I love this turquoise and this kiwi. Well, they called it kiwi, but I don't know. It's sort of a chartreuse, but it's so pretty. I love those two together. Now here it is all done. I'll be honest, I wasn't sure how these ornaments were going to turn out, but they turned out really cute. I'm pleasantly surprised. And now for our next phase, doing it without any glitter, and we're going to start right where we did last time. We're going to burnish this down onto a new piece of paper, and then we're not going to use all the fancy supplies. We're going to go right on the paper. And we're going to watercolor the ornaments right on the paper, and we're going to use a marker for the Mary, just like we did, and a fountain pen for Christmas, just like we did, but I'm going to use gel pens for all the gold part. And this time, so I'll know where to paint, I went ahead and burnished on where the ornaments are. But you don't have to do that if you don't need to. But if you do, don't worry. Your paint's going to cover most of it up and it'll be fine. You're not going to notice it. And in fact, spoiler alert, I almost like this card better. I like them each better, but for different reasons. So anyway, so all I'm going to do here is just wet the circle with the ornament, and I'm going to drop in some color. And on this first one, I used nickel yellow azo because that's where the highlight is going to be, is up there. And then I used quinacridone rose, and the two of them together are going to be red and rose, because that yellow is going to make the rose more of a red color. So where the light's hitting it, it'll be a little bit warmer, and then where the rose is, it's going to be in the shadow. And I'm also going to use a little bit of magenta, and that'll give it a little bit more shadow. And you don't have to stress about this. This is not, again, it's very stylized, so don't stress out over it. But just doing this, it's real simple and it's pretty easy to do. And then of course we're going to use gel pen over it to make the ornaments sparkle. And this is actually once you burnish down the graphite onto the paper, this is a pretty quick process using the watercolor directly on the card, and using gel pens. It's super quick, you guys. I sped this up twice as much, and I cut out like the long pauses, but this is pretty much just a little bit faster, not a lot faster. I think one card took a half an hour. Not bad. And especially if you've got 10 or 12 cards to make, you can kind of do it assembly line style. So you could do all the burnishing first, transfer all the graphite onto your cards, and then you can do one card at a time doing the ornaments, and then you can go back and you can write Merry Christmas, and then you can go back and you can do the I don't know what you call it, looks like wrought iron that little swirl design, then you could do that last. So yeah, you can get this done. You could get 10 of them done in an afternoon or at least a day. If you want to take a day, put on your Christmas music and just relax and let yourself be creative, and let that be a time to kin keep and neighbor keep. Let it be a time of connection, as well as a time of creativity and a time of relaxation and meditation. And give yourself that afternoon. It's okay. Do it. Now I'm writing Merry Christmas just as I did on the other one. The same pens, maybe a little more relaxed on this one, a little less stiff. By the way, I hope you like the jazz Christmas that I selected for this. I was reminiscing about all of the Peanuts specials, and specifically Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown, that kind of stuff. And so I found this sort of jazz Christmas music. Kind of reminds me of the Peanuts. Now this is just the Jelly Roll pens. I got a set of these a while ago, and I have haven't really used them, and I kind of wasn't sure I had a real use for them. I got this idea that I was gonna do some mandalas on black paper using these metallic looking gel pens, and I just never got into it. It's one of those ideas that sounded really good, and then when I started to do it, I was like, not really into it. I might get into it again soon. I do enjoy technical drawing and things that are, using a compass and a ruler and all that kind of stuff. So I may be doing some more of that in the future. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of loosely penning this in with a silver gel pen. This time I'm using silver instead of gold because I used that metallic blue, dark, kind of a midnight blue for the swirl. And now I'm going to pick out some other colors to embellish the ornaments. This is a red, but it's kind of an orangey red. I thought it would be pretty for this ornament, but you're going to have to try the samples of them because they do not match. And looking at this, it turned out almost kind of purpley pink, and the cap has a very definite yellow-orange look. So yeah, test them out. It turned out okay though. And I was really surprised just how much of an impact they made on these ornaments. Because I'll tell you, I made a couple of different ones and filmed them, and some of them made the cut and some of them didn't. This made the cut, and I really like the way the gel pens work on this. So, that just proves you don't have to be that elaborate about it. You really can just use the kind of supplies you may already have. I even tried that glitter glue that you get like for kids, and I think I got really cheap glitter glue, or it would have worked. It wasn't very consistent. Like some of it, there was lots of glitter, and then there'd be a lot of glue and not very much glitter. But otherwise, that would work. If you have some good glitter glue, get the Crayola ones. Don't buy the ones, the Michaels brand, whatever, that Curate or whatever. Don't buy that. Get the good Crayola. Isn't it funny that Crayola is the good brand now? I remember when I was growing up, Crayola's crap. You wanted there was a different brand that your art teacher wanted you to get when I was in grade school. I think it was Prang. Yeah, it was Prang. Yeah, you didn't want the Crayola, and you didn't want anything washable. Anyway. But look how this turned out. It actually really adds something to it. It's so pretty. Such a simple little supply. Very unassuming. And look what it can do for you. Do you remember those blown glass ornaments that they weren't just round? I mean, they were different shapes, and then they had some kind of indentation in the center, and they were real glittery and beautiful. Maybe next year I'll figure out how to make those, but for this year we're just doing something simple. And look how pretty. I can't believe how pretty that turned out. And just be sure, don't rush erasing. I think I smeared the ink just a little bit on the fountain pen. I thought it had plenty of time to dry. It didn't. And you can use make sure it's soft, a clean paintbrush to brush away the crumbs of the And now here they are both together. And you can decide for yourself which one you like better. And if you have a different method of doing it, feel free to use my design. Again, just go look on my community tab and I'll have that up there for you that you can, I think you can download it. I'm new to this kind of stuff. So anyway, I want you guys to have a great Christmas. Take care of yourselves and don't let yourself get weighed down with all the preparations, and you know how it can be. So take some time, be creative, reflective, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye now. Smooches.